Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here, back with another guide for Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2. This time I'm going to show you how to get the trophy Luna Secare. In order to get Luna Secare, we need to finish the final episode only using Zangetsu. You cannot get any other characters, even from their levels. It doesn't matter. You have to use Zangetsu in your party. That's it. So the way to do this is to keep creating and deleting files on the final episode with Ultimate Zangetsu until Stage 1 has no characters in it. And the reason for this is because you need at least one spaceship part, so you have to finish at least one level, and level 1 is the easiest. If you finish a level that does have a character in it, that character will join your party, and then you are disqualified from this trophy. So you need to complete a level that has no one in it, and level 1 is the easiest way to do that. With that said, you can use Ultimate Zangetsu, which is unlocked after finishing the final episode normally. So feel free to use Ultimate Zangetsu. You can still get the trophy. You could use normal Zangetsu. I don't see why you would, but if you wanted the extra challenge, you could do that too. So we're going to finish level 1. I'll give you a quick strategy for the boss, only because it can be a little bit difficult without Alfred or any other supporting characters. Defeating the boss in level 1 does take a little while, again, because you don't have any supporting characters. The strategy is mostly the same, but since you have Ultimate Zangetsu, you can sort of do this the way you would do it through level 2, as long as you didn't have the Zanmatsu. So once the dragon becomes active, a little demon will come out of its mouth. So you can hit that a couple times using either a sub-weapon, but you can also get a full triple slash off in time. And then once that cycle is done, you want to avoid the 3 lightning strikes, wait on this top pillar, get a triple slash in. Sometimes you can get 4. And then in this next little phase, it's the same as chapter 2 or episode 2 and the final episode. You want to back up a little bit so the xenomorph head doesn't hit you, and then the mouth opens, and then you can deal some damage. Then you just rinse and repeat until the boss is dead. Once the boss is dead, level 1 will finish, and then you will get a spaceship part. This time I got a shard furnace. I can't remember if it's random every time. Truth be told, I don't really know if any of those things actually do anything aside from give you more lives. Who knows? All right, so we are going to go into space with our one part, and since we don't have any party members, we unlock the Daizen Getsetsu, and this makes it so our spaceship shoots a beam, sort of like the charge slash, if you will, of the sword. I'll give you a walkthrough of the space section because it can be quite difficult, especially since you only have 3 lives. So, as you can see, our default shots are now arc slashes, which are very helpful. I don't think they're any more powerful than the traditional shot that you have when you do this normally, but it does hit more enemies in a wider arc, of course. So in this first stage, around the forest area, we're going to kill these bats. The red ones drop speed upgrades, and there's a maximum of 10 speed levels. So what I have noticed, actually, is sometimes I go too fast, and that winds up working against me. So these flies here, the first one will drop a sub-weapon. It's random every time, but we got Miriam's triple daggers. Now we're going to get Zangetsu's demon face and Robert's spears. I believe the demon face just makes you do more damage with your regular shot. It doesn't seem to do much else. Oh, actually, I can see red bullets coming out of it now. And of course, we get the flame shield, but then we are going to quickly switch over to this lightning attack of Alfred's. This is a screen-clearing attack. This will attack anything on the screen. I guess I shouldn't say it clears the screen, but it will go in all directions. So very, very useful. I don't recommend taking any other weapon except that one whenever it comes up, or any other Alfred weapons, I should say. The flame shield is good in some ways. It will protect you from incoming projectiles, but it does run out, so I don't really recommend relying on it. So just stick with the lightning and learn the pattern of the level. It never changes. All right, so we have these eye enemies. We're going to pick up some bombs. We'll actually ignore them for now. I've noticed that they just sort of like drop into the distance in a way. I don't find them super effective. Instead, I just choose to stick with the normal stuff. So we just picked up a Jeeble Bat, which is always very helpful. We got some speed upgrades. We're going to ignore those for now because I don't want to go too fast. But as you can see here, Alfred's lightning attack is just going in all directions, and it's becoming very helpful for us by clearing the sides of the screen. There are a lot of enemies on the sides of the screen that can shoot projectiles that follow you. These big skull enemies, they shatter into bones that go in a lot of different directions. So just make sure you understand the pattern there. It's sort of like an octagonal or octagon sort of formation. I think it's 8. What I have noticed in this shoot 'em up stage is that oftentimes I cannot even tell what is going on and whose bullets are whose. So oftentimes you'll see me just kind of clear the screen and just stop shooting. And this is very deliberate so I can kind of get my bearings again. I have this part memorized for the most part, so I don't do it here. These enemies on this side, these snail conch shell sort of enemies, those guys shoot green projectiles, and once they reach your vertical position, they will start moving towards you. So you can just sort of bait them to follow you to a vertical position and then just go left or right, and then all of the streams will just avoid you. So it's an easy way of dealing with that. All right, so we're going to take Miriam's sickles here. And instead of the triple daggers, this is going to do more upfront damage because some of the enemies coming up do require that. They need to be taken care of quite quickly. All right, so we are about halfway done here in this next section. We're going to transition to the actual surface of the moon here in a second. So yeah, you can see there the skull enemies are exploding into rings of bones that you have to avoid. All right, so we have 2 lamps here. We have a big shot for Robert that luckily 2 dropped. These enemies can be a little frustrating because they just release a lot of bullets. And as you can see there, I accidentally just ran into a wall. So because I was going too fast and because there was so much stuff on the screen, I couldn't really tell what was going on. That happens a lot to me. But luckily, Alfred's lightning attack is what dropped out of the ship, so I was able to recover that very quickly, and then use that to clear the screen of some enemies, get some quick speed upgrades, and before long I have all my upgrades back. All right, so now here we are on the surface of the moon. So we're just going to kill some more enemies, get a couple speed upgrades. And then these blue guys, you can kill one at a time, and then you can also just ignore the second one. They don't ever move off the screen they don't move side to side. They just go off the screen eventually. So you can just focus on one and then move ahead of the other. This way you don't, run into any of the projectiles. All right, so we have a couple meteor fields or asteroid fields that we need to go through here. This Dominique weapon, this lightning bolt one, very, very helpful. This clears the sides of the screen, which is really, really helpful, especially in these asteroid fields. We're going to pick up the triple daggers, and then we have Hachi's bombs. We'll start taking those, and pretty soon here, the surface of the moon is going to split open. All right, another red guy over here. That one takes quite a bit of damage, and I'm going to do my best to ignore everything. I have no idea how I managed to avoid that bullet hell, but I did. Very happy about that. All right, the surface is going to split and reveal where we need to go. These demon guys, you can just sort of ignore them, honestly. I have noticed that that's sort of the best way to go about this shoot 'em up stage, is just start ignoring things. All right, so I took the flame shield here, actually by accident, but it is helpful because it does, disable incoming projectiles. So when these demons are coming out side to side, I just ignore them for the most part. And now we have the lightning attack back again. We got a couple more of these skull and bone dudes to clear out. We're going to ignore these next 2 sub-weapons. Clear these out. Okay, we will pick up the scroll for Zangetsu. Pick up the last couple speed upgrades. Have one last demon here. Okay. Now we are going to do the last few of these skull enemies, and pretty soon we're going to fight the boss. But with this many upgrades, especially Alfred's lightning attack, becomes very trivial. The trick with the boss is you just want to defeat him as quickly as possible. I know that sounds silly. Of course you want to defeat him as quickly as possible. But the reason for that is because he has a very frustrating sort of like lightning attack that is really hard to avoid because it's inactive for like a few frames, but then very much active the frames after that. And, one hit kills you no matter what is going on. All right, so here's the boss. I do believe I take a death on the boss, but then I kill him pretty quickly thereafter. So it's this big dragon that has 4 arms. 2 of them are totally detached from the boss. So you want to do your best to kind of take care of as many hands as you can. Yep, I just totally botched that. But luckily I was able to destroy a few arms really quickly. All right, so there's the lightning. But then we are just going to get the last few hits in, and he's down. So just try to get him with as many lives as you can and just sort of face tank it if you have to. But that is the outer space section. Luckily, it's the only shoot 'em up stage. I really enjoy it, but if this was an actual shoot 'em up game, I'd probably hate it because there's so much visual clutter. But here we are, the final stage, Luna Secare. And we only have Zangetsu, and everything is in low gravity, just like it was on the final episode the first time around. So, this is a really long level, and there's not a lot of checkpoints. What I recommend doing is, if you fall below 3 continues before you reach the 2nd or 3rd checkpoint, I honestly just recommend resetting and just starting over. So in this first room, we have a couple mimics. We're going to take care of one and then start dashing and double jumping. It's okay if you take hits because, believe it or not, even though there aren't a lot of checkpoints, there are quite a few health or heart torches. So, you know, you're going to start recovering health. So we're in this second room. We are almost just going to brute force this. So we are going to get this weapon flask. I'm just going to keep calling it hearts, honestly, because it's Castlevania. All right, so we're going to drop our talisman there, or our scroll. And then once we've reached this section, we can just double jump over everything using our invincibility frames. Head upstairs, and then you can get whatever sub-weapon you want. It doesn't really make too much of a difference to me. I have seen strategies where people say, only get the whip, only get the whip. I actually think the talisman is really powerful in a lot of places, but the whip is effective in others. All right, so we have some quick flying blue Medusa heads that we gotta watch out for. We've got these two moving platforms, and then a flame or a fireball dropping from the ceiling. So wait for the next one to drop and then jump over it. We have a big heart in this torch here, but you want to wait for the platform to be low and no fireballs present, and then you can drop. Okay, drop down right here, and then we are going to double jump up to this door, and then this is a shortcut to a torch. So we have a checkpoint. Great. Go ahead and hit that checkpoint, and then walk downstairs. These shield slamming enemies, you can just jump over their attacks. So once they slam, or once they're about to slam, just jump, hit them 4 times, and then they will drop. Go ahead and get a talisman, they come in handy. You have a puffing enemy on the level below. Once you hit the bottom of the stairs, jump, and then attack 4 times. Might get a 1-up there. Alright, it's the same thing here. There's a puffing enemy. Once you hit the bottom, jump, and then I just killed the one above me. It doesn't really matter what you do. Same deal here. Once you hit the bottom, jump, and then you want to do your best to hit this guy 4 times. Every time they attack, they either move backward or forward. So sometimes you wind up chasing them. I recommend just dropping a talisman. I didn't do a great job of illustrating it, but that's the way to take care of them. In this next section, we're going to get the mask sub-weapon, drop and get a big heart, and then we're going to start trying to clear this room as quickly as possible using jump attacks. Alright, so luckily we got saved there somehow, but you want to just play it smart, but also go through this room very quickly, because as you can see, there's a ton of enemies here. Alright, in this section we have these kind of tornado whirling dervish enemies that just appear in the sky, along with some crumbling platforms and fireballs dropping from the ceiling. As you can see there, one of them is going to bounce me off, and then I'm just going to wind up completely clearing that section of crumbling platforms. We're going to kill this spike that drops, and then kill the next one, and we're going to go to that door that you see up here using a double jump. And it's our next checkpoint. Go ahead and hit that, and then get a heart. It's only a small one, but that's okay. I want to take our time through this next section here because these spear enemies are very difficult to kill as Zangetsu. As you can see here, I'm going to take a hit. Make sure you get the scroll, though. They are really effective in killing these guys. Unfortunately, it's just past the first one, so it takes a while to get. This torch can be kind of tricky to get because of the amount of space that you have, so you got to make a really well-timed jump. But keep on going, and then use the talisman to take out the rest of the spear guys. And there's a small heart in this container here. Watch out for these multi-arrow shooting guys. Unfortunately, you cannot take care of them as Zangetsu, so you do have to go downstairs. This is a lot easier than it looks right here as long as you have the talisman. You just want to drop, and then once you get under the first, or the second torch rather, just drop a talisman, and then drop one more, or hit it with your sword, and you'll be able to clear it without an issue. We're going to get the next couple of torches here to just get the rest of the magic points, as well as a big heart, and then we are going to get this last one over here. You can kill the slime spewing torch if you want, but I just skip it. It's not a big deal. Oh, I actually killed it this time. Sorry, I skip it most times. I forgot I killed it there. Alright, so I'm going to head through this door. And this section can be pretty precarious because of all the gargoyles. You got an axe-throwing knight up there. I think he's headless, actually. That's pretty funny. Alright, so we are going to get the whip out of this torch because these axe-throwing guys are on an angle, and the whip really helps in those cases. With these gargoyles, whenever their eyes glint, they're going to shoot a fireball. So just go ahead and have your sword out as the fireball comes near you, and you'll just kill the fireball instead of taking damage. Alright, so we're going to take care of these last couple here, and then jump over and just hold up so you go up the stairs. All right, in this next section, we're going to get the talisman back out of this torch, and then we are going to throw it in the air. We're going to try to time it so it hits a fireball. As long as you kill the fireball before it hits the ground, it will not spread. So that's always the goal here, just like that. And then you can also hit the fireball with a sword, and that'll help as well. Drop a talisman on this sickle enemy here, and it'll deal a lot of damage. Then just get the last couple hits, and you're good to go. So we have a fireball dropping from the ceiling and rising from the ground. So you want to work out the timing to where you can jump over and then throw one last talisman and kill this dragon here. 2 more fireballs coming out of the ground, jump over those, and you'll hit the next checkpoint. Alright, so I took a death, that's okay. We are going to pick up the mask and then pick up some more weapon points, and then we're going to go through this next section. This is kind of hard, but if you realize that you can just double jump really high, it becomes a lot easier. So that's it, that's the whole section. It looks really menacing, but as long as you just double jump up that first staircase, it's no problem. For this big shield dude, you want to try your best to jump behind him, although that can be a little tough because you may fall off completely. So you may just want to face tank it a little bit, take some damage, just be safe. This next section, don't worry about anything, just run once you hit the ground and go through the door, and you are directly underneath the checkpoint. Okay, so we're going to head downstairs to one of the final sections here. I always check walls to see if you can break them. You never can in this area. So we're going to get the whip, and then you need to make sure you have at least 6 whip charges worth of weapon points by the time you reach the final torch. 3 whip hits will kill both of these enemies, and they will save you a lot of heartache. So make sure you have at least 12 weapon points by the time you reach the end. It's a small heart in that container, and then we have reached the final room before the boss. So I took a death against the boss, or a couple deaths actually. The way to get through this quite easily is just keep hitting circle to keep dashing, and then you want to jump once you reach the second torch, and then attack so you pick up the weapon point jars that are in there. Pick up the mask, any hearts you need, and any more weapon points as you go through that level. If you are close to another free life, you can go back into that room by going up the stairs and holding down, and then kill all the enemies from behind. You get a decent amount of weapon points from killing all 3. So this boss, all the damage can be avoided, which is really nice. He's going to start off with a head slam, and then this blue orb, once it's close to completing, just double jump in the air, and it will go off screen and it will never explode. For the green breath, you can hide directly underneath the head, and then that will be it for the first phase. So after you complete each phase and the head, quote-unquote, dies, one of your allies will come and stop it from attacking you. You want to jump on top. You want to be very careful because the teeth are still active. So I recommend doing a long run and double jump onto the head, and then you will go to the next phase. All right, so in this next phase, the gray head will always use this attack here. You want to line yourself up in between the dips of the blue rays, and then you want to jump over one of the spears, and then double jump once you reach the next dip, and then you can avoid all the damage. It's really hard to time. I don't get it every single time, but it is avoidable. So feel free to kind of repeat that section in the video if you're having difficulty lining yourself up. It does take a while to learn, and it is honestly the hardest attack to avoid in this entire fight. All right, so he's going to do that attack again. The dips in the blue rays is where you want to get, and then double jump once you reach the middle of the next set. It's hard. I don't do a great job of avoiding it myself, but it is avoidable. Believe me. All right, so we have our third ally, Robert, here. We're going to do the same thing. Do a running double jump over him. He's going to get pushed to the side. Luckily, they all come back later. All right, so 2 more of these little phases, and then we can actually start fighting the boss. All right, so when the mouth glows red, it's going to do this spike floor attack, so keep that in mind. All right, in this phase, the gray head goes back to this blue orb, which is great for us because that means that we get free damage on the pink head. All right, Alfred's going to show up, and then we got 1 more of these head phases, and then we can start fighting the boss. This time it's only the pink head, but it does have all of the attacks of the gray head, so you got to be very careful. So it has its head slam, it can extend, it can shoot the blue orb, it can do the other attack where the spears come down from the sky. It can do everything the other head can. You gotta be very careful here. Yep. So I don't do a great job of avoiding those hits, but it is doable. Alright, so we are going to go to the final phase here. I face tanked that hit because I just wanted it to end, and the reason being is because Miriam's going to come out, save us, but then once we actually reach the boss's area, Dominique is going to come out and give us a full health restore. So as long as you get here with like 1 HP, you're going to do just fine. And you'll notice we still have the skull sub weapon, and we have not used any weapon points. With this double moon attack, you want to go into the left corner, and then once the first moon hits the ground and the second moon is clear, you want to double jump over the other moon. In this section here, sickles will come out, very similar to the Gremory fights of Ritual of the Night, and then you want to make sure you clear them all. And then Dominique will show up. Don't worry about these blue orbs yet. Go ahead and get the full HP restore, and then jump onto her spear. And then I messed that up. I'm glad I did, because I actually messed the whole sequence up. So we're going to do that again. We are going to wait for the moon to drop, and then we are going to double jump over it, wait for the explosion, and then in this moon sickle phase, we're going to use our mask sub-weapon one more time. And it's very important here that you kill the red moon. I'm pretty sure if you don't kill the red moon, Dominique gets stunned again, and you just got to keep repeating it until the red moon is gone. So, use the mask before you jump on Dominique's spear, and then just go to town on the boss. You can jump off the spear, which you'll see me do in the final attempt there. So go ahead and double jump over this moon. Be very careful. Stand near Dominique, this way you don't get hit in the explosion. The sickle phase is going to start again. I'm going to not use the mask sub-weapon because I want to make sure I deal all that damage to the boss. Instead, I just kind of run around and wait for the red sickle to come back. Okay, we're going to use the mask sub-weapon one more time. Jump on the spear, and then just keep mashing on the boss. And as you can see, how much extra damage I just did by jumping off the spear and attacking. Alright, so I'm actually going to mess up this moon phase. But luckily, I'm going to also mess up this. You see just how much damage it does. I'm basically down to 1 HP. And because of that, or 2 HP, and because of that, I'm going to use my sub-weapon again and clear out all these sickles, including the red one. And then we just need to hit the boss one time, real quick, and that is it. Jump up one more time, deliver the killing blow to the boss, and I will leave the credits, and what happens next, a secret. But that's it. That is how you get Luna Secare. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. You can also join my community Discord. The link for that is in the video description below. If you're looking for more guides for Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon 2, please subscribe to the channel so you get alerted when new guides go live. If you're interested in supporting the channel monetarily, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking the blue join button below this video. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and on Twitch, and as always, I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.